Alright guys, welcome back to some more Monster Energy Supercross 3. Today we are checking out 2020 Las Vegas. And we actually have a bunch of different tracks to show you. I made a track, that's this one here. And I'm relatively happy with how it turned out. We did do it in the large outdoor stadium, but we'll talk about that. It could always be better, but this is the track we are going to race on this weekend. So I kind of wanted to make it, you know, where it's not super hard, but not super easy. It's kind of competitive. That was the overall goal of how I built this track. So we have this track I built, and then three different versions of 2020 Vegas to show you. So let's jump into it, starting with my track. All right, so here is the tournament version of the track that I built. It actually is built in the large outdoor stadium. And the reason I did that is because it just felt too congested if I did it in the smaller stadium. It has a really big rhythm lane in the back here. I do believe it's the biggest rhythm section of the year. I believe it has 13 jumps in it, which is pretty crazy because that is a really long rhythm section to hit. And I did build it to basically where you're tripling through it. Now there is a bit of line choice you will see. You can't step onto that table, step off, and then you have a single into this corner here. You can step onto this table, but we were jumping over. It's for sure more practical to triple over the table and then triple into the whoop section. So that's pretty much a lap. Very standard way of hitting it. I would say that's the consistent way. This lap is very similar, but I do show you the alternate lines you can take on this track. The Dragon's Back. The biggest problem that I had building this is the start straight was very similar to how it was at East Rutherford. It was tilted a bit just to make everything fit right, and it worked better to do it in the large outdoor stadium here because you have a lot more room, and so it didn't feel near as congested as it did in the small outdoor stadium. So that's kind of why we chose this stadium. Might not be as realistic, but in my opinion it makes for a more fun track to play, especially for you guys in the tournament. And I wanted to keep it competitive. And I'm sure it's fun to run away with a race and win by a mile, but it's more fun to watch for everybody else, and I'm sure it's more fun for the guys that are competing to be able to battle, you know, and not be super far behind. And I feel like the way we built this track, it could be pretty competitive. It could have some good battling. And I mean, similar to how we built East Rutherford, I feel like we could have tighter racing and maybe some different guys up front. So now I did have to mess with this bridge a bit because I had it farther to the right, which wasn't correct to the map, but that's how it turned out at first. It was weird because if you were on the left side of the starting gate, it was kind of like sunk down. And so I had to redo that to fix it because that would have been an unfair advantage for everybody else. And then here, step on, step off, double. It works if you're battling and you need a different line to take, but I definitely wouldn't suggest it. I mean, that's for sure not as fast, for sure. And then we have one more lap to show you here, and that will be taking a different line in the back rhythm section. And maybe you could quad that triple at the beginning. I never really tried it, but you have a pretty big open first turn, so it might be a possibility. Plus, having that big open first turn hopefully will stop some of the crashing, you know, going for the whole shot. I'm hoping, but we'll just have to wait and see. And here we go, triple in. Pretty standard. Step on, off, triple, single. That's kind of the alternate line. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's pretty much meant to be hit one way. Here we kind of mess this up, and then we actually jump out into the whoops. But that's my track. We are going to jump on over into the next version of Vegas, baby. All right, so we have the second version of 2020 Vegas. This is by It's McChicken. He is a super fast player in our tournament. And the track was actually really well done. It wasn't perfect to the map, but it was really good. It was really fun to play. And not surprising, it had some really tough sections. You'll see, we show you 3 laps, I believe. So you'll see some of the tougher lines I had to try and go for. But if you did hit him, very, very satisfying. But like I was saying, I'm not surprised that this is a tougher track because McChicken is a very, very, very good player. Really good. So the way he builds a track, if he builds a track tough for himself, it's going to be really, really tough for a casual guy like me to do it. Now here he should have had the bridge, but he didn't put it in. It doesn't really bother me. The only tough part about that is that the bridge, you know, if you're racing, you could overjump that bridge and go off track. And so it would add an extra obstacle on the track. It's not just a jump, you know, it's right into that corner. So I feel like it could make it tougher. And there we got the triple. Super tough. I mean, okay, not super tough, but it feels like an inconsistent line where you hit that, for sure you're going to be faster. But it's also a line that might be tough to get lap after lap. So you have to have that other option of hitting that section in case you mess it up and can't get that triple into the whoops. And then that triple, you can quad it. And we do show you on the next lap. I don't know. I just don't know if it's faster. I mean, you can kind of hug the inside on the start straight if you take the triple, or go far outside, carry speed, and hit the quad, double. But you kind of have to brake pretty hard for the double into the corner. Kind of asking or questioning myself if it's really faster. Maybe it is, but I just don't know if it's worth the extra effort. You know what I mean? But that's the main difference. We throw down the quad off the start straight. So this track, I loved it. McChicken, awesome. Awesome job. I really enjoyed this track. It was challenging. It was very flowy. And it just worked really good. It might not have been perfect to the map, but it was very, very, very close. And I feel like some of the scaling might have been a bit big, but very fun in the game. And I highly recommend you guys try this track out, especially if you want to challenge. Especially if you want to challenge and want to try and hit some bigger lines on 2020 Vegas. But that's going to wrap up this part. Let's hop on over into the next track. So I only have one lap for you from Jesse's track. I actually did enjoy this track too. It felt fairly different. He interpreted a few sections a bit different. This section worked pretty good. And then here you have a triple over tables. He kind of built that a bit different, but you never know. They very well could have done that in real life. We'll maybe never know, but it was just a bit interesting. And then he built the section where you have the bridge a little bit different too. And I actually think I like the way he did it better than how I did it myself. I feel like it scales better and it just feels better to play, you know? You'll see that here in a second. And yeah, he does have the step off. And then it connects the track. Yeah, see, instead of putting the bridge, he put a triple over. So that is Jesse's track. One lap. Let's check out the final version of Vegas. All right, here we have the final version of 2020 Vegas. This is by Serum. Now, I don't know if I've ever done a track by him, but it was fun, and it was probably the most radical version of 2020 Vegas that I saw. You'll see here in a bit, but all this is very similar. I mean, I don't feel like that section was the best made, but it was okay. And this section was all right too. It wasn't hard, but it was tough. And then I'm okay with this. He put these sand rollers kind of. I'm okay with that because it's a game. I highly doubt they do that in real life, but it's more fun in the game than just hitting this really long stretch of straight, you know? At least it gives you something to do. A huge triple. And then here, instead of going back down the start, he did it next to the start. And then he has some whoops here and the finish. So very interesting build. I would say this is the most radical design out of all of them, but it was still fun. It was still very fun. I highly encourage you guys to check them all out. You see who the creators are. Just search 2020 Vegas or just Vegas on PlayStation, and you can give them all a go, except for mine. Saturday, we are going to validate it before the tournament, and you guys will get a chance to practice on it. But make sure you're tuning in to Twitter, because there is a surprise twist to this weekend's race, and I'm going to announce it probably the same day you see this video. So make sure to check it out on Twitter if you're involved in the tournament. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really, 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 really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.